Bill, with social media, I know that everybody has a different opinion.
Right.
I just try to encourage.
And there's so much negative stuff out there. Just encouraging and all that is what people need at this stage.
And to be honest with you, it encourages me.
Yeah.
And therefore it kind of spills over. Maybe it encourages someone else.
And you proved you don't have to sacrifice your family to be successful in business.
So God showed me that, and I wanted to help people that come to work here understand that principle as well. And so I think it's a priority. I love that, Pastor. And, it's interesting because in the last six months or so, really since maybe the couple months left in 2020, God's been dealing with me, and I've been studying a lot more on marketplace, just really deliberately focusing on it. And something that the Lord really showed me through my studies, and I've actually met with my pastor. It's a big church, over 6 different campuses here locally. Right. And we're going to be talking about this more. But one of the things that God laid on my heart is where, and I 100% believe in the local church. I mean, we all need to be connected, obviously, to the local church. But instead of the ministry seeking out, a church per se, or being disconnected from it, God really showed me too that the pastor in the area and a business owner that has that in their heart need to get together. And that's why I'm going to be presenting some things to my pastor where I think the pastor in an area, especially if they want to impact the city, needs to find those business owners like you did with the gentleman you just mentioned, and embrace that, because I truly believe it's a form of ministry that we haven't necessarily understood in the kingdom. And it's been there. There's businesses that do it and they attend church, but the reality is, it's a really strong and effective way for that church to reach the community. Not just the widows and the orphans and the ones we give to on that side. We've done such a great job as a church, but also to reach, there could be a business owner in the tallest building in downtown Tampa right now that's thinking about ending his life, that has all the money in the world.
That's right.
But he doesn't have hope. So to impact those individuals, I just think that we have to see how the heart of Jesus in that. And so I'm going to get very deliberate about that. And that's what the Lord's dealing with me on in this next season.
I love it. And that's really where 20 years ago, we began we do a weekly or monthly luncheon. I do BPL leadership from that. That's where it got started. And it was just for business leaders in the community, both men and women. And we would just talk about issues in the Bible that they dealt with that we have to deal with, same things that they have in the Bible. And that's how it grew. And so now you've got, we were at Trade Center this morning, a big convention center, and so it's filled with people for breakfast, but it's all business leaders, and they get to know one another. So there's also contacts. When they need a plumber or electrician or a car dealer or insurance person, they're all sitting around the tables. It's become our own little chamber of commerce, and yet it's a Christian one. And so I like the idea you're doing. I encourage you to keep pursuing it. There's a lot of potential with that, a lot of big potential. Now let me ask you this. I know you're a family guy. I know you love your family. You got a beautiful family too. Tell me about your family. God's blessed you there. How long you been married? How many kids you got? And what their vocations or goal is in life?
28 years. This past April 16th was 28 years. My wife and I have been married, and we have 3 children. We started extremely young with kids, and so my oldest is 27. And my son is 25, and my youngest daughter is 20, and she's actually getting married in 2 months. My oldest daughter is married as well.
Congratulations.
And, my son's in a serious relationship, and got a granddaughter who is 16 months old. And matter of fact, she'll be at my office here in a little bit. So blessed beyond measure there. My oldest daughter owns a hair salon. She's an entrepreneur. And my son and my youngest daughter are both in worship at one's in Orlando, one's at the Radiant Church, which is the church we attend. My daughter is there, and just blessed beyond measure there. I'll say one thing about family with regards to connecting it, because a lot of times I have a tendency, if I let my natural self do what I wanted to do, I'd be a workaholic. I mean, I could work until, I could just work forever. And so something that God really delivered me from, helped me with several years ago, probably a little over a decade now. And I watched things explode from there. I was at Disney World. My children, my youngest was very young. My other two were, early, like 10, 11, 12. And we were at Disney World for a week and a half. And I was on my phone just constantly 3-4 days, just dealing with my assistant and my clients and, what have you. My wife looked at me one day, this is about 12 years ago. And she goes, "Why are you here?" She says, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
And it hit me.
Yeah.
And God had already been dealing with me on it, but that hit me.
Yeah.
And from that point on, we made a policy at our office, and we're in sales. So, I mean, we, our clients are dealers and they don't know any bounds. I get text messages at 1:00 in the morning from a client, but we end at 6 and our people leave. All of our, with the exception of our call center, they have later shifts, but our people leave and go home, and we encourage them, stop working at 6. And it's just something we implemented. And, at first sales companies are telling you, man, you got to work 7 days a week, or man, I'm going to get whatever business you leave on the table because you're not working Saturdays or whatever it is. But I'm going to tell you, God's exponentially grown our company with that principle. And so family is, so God showed me that, and I wanted to help people that come to work here understand that principle as well. And so I think it's a priority.
Before we continue with this episode, we want to make sure that you are aware of our monthly BP Leadership Breakfast. That's right. Our live events with Bill Purvis are back each and every month. If you join us on those days, you not only get to hear an amazing leadership lesson from Bill, you get some awesome breakfast food, you get to participate in some giveaways, and you can network with some key leaders from within our community. So make sure you RSVP and sign up on our website, bpleadership.com. Now, when you go to our website, you click the events tab. You'll see a list of all the upcoming dates, the times, location, all that stuff is on there for you. So make sure you RSVP and sign up now at that website, bpleadership.com.
I love it. Yeah, and you proved you don't have to sacrifice your family to be successful in business. There's this idea sometimes that we got to trade off one or the other. And I don't think you have to trade those off.
No.
You just have to prioritize, and sometimes you put more time at work, so you're going to have to pull back and say, next week I need to put more time with the family, but you can't live on that path.
Right.
But I like the fact that I've always made the statement that give your best to the people that are going to cry the most and the deepest at your funeral. And if I know, when a funeral's over, the majority of people are going to say, we love Bill and he was fun, he made us laugh and all that stuff that encourages us. But then they're going to get in the car and go home. But my family has got to go to a new life. So you want to give your best to those people that are going to hurt the most. And I think you've done it right, David. I really do. And so now let me ask you this. We talk about your social media connections too. And I know you've got a lot of different places out there where people can find you. What are some of your social media addresses where if they want to follow David Villa or they want to know more about your business, what are the addresses you got?
Yeah, so big on Twitter for the right reasons. I just try to encourage. And so on Twitter, you can search me. Now, there is a soccer player named David Villa who is pretty famous. So, but my handle is IPD Mail, and that's because it started years ago. And when we became verified on Twitter, they won't let you change that. Or it disrupts the change. So you can search me there on Twitter. Also on Facebook, you can search David Villa. We do our podcast, Game Changer, live on Facebook, just as a point of conversation with some of our listeners. And then, of course, on Instagram, my team is starting to get more active on Instagram, and that's also, I think, is Real David Villa. But so we just try to encourage. That's one of these things where it doesn't necessarily. It's interesting, Bill, with social media. I know that everybody has a different opinion.
Right.
I just try to encourage and just try to, and to be honest with you, it encourages me.
Yeah.
And therefore it kind of spills over. Maybe it encourages someone else, but sometimes I need encouragement. So the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord.
That's
so
right.
I'm just encouraging myself. And if it helps someone else, then that's good.
That's right.
And I found that I'll get business out of just encouragement. And, that's not the reason we do it. So we're not there touting like, hey, buy this, buy that.
That's
it's just, this is what we want to pour into you. And the result is God connects you, I think, when you do his work. But I'd love to connect with anybody.
And there's so much negative stuff out there. Just encouraging and all that is what people need at this stage. I mean, I put one time just a joke and said, let me just put that on. And my lady told me, she said, man, they're blowing up, the likes and the loves. And I said, I guess people just wanted to laugh today. They've been hearing so much negative.
That's
and
right.
So, yeah, you've done it well. You're full of enthusiasm. You've always got something to say. I tell anybody that listens to you, I learned something from you every time I've heard you, David, every single time. So I commend you for that. And then on top of that is not only is your website, your social media real good there, but to go to your company website and check it out, especially any dealers we have or anybody needing the business, because I think a lot of people just don't know where to go. And if they'll make the one step and give you a call, I'm going to encourage a couple of my friends too. I'm going to touch base with them, text them a note, and ask them to get in touch with you. And I believe you could help them. Now, let me ask you this in closing. That is, the most important thing for all of us we know is our faith. And that's what I love about you, David. You've never been ashamed to share it. You've told about what God does. I think you've even preached or spoken at your church. Tell me from a businessman's viewpoint, all this stuff, how that works for you, that you've got a faith, that how you met God and what God does for you, and what you would say to somebody else who maybe is going through life without hope or without the Lord, and they're struggling, but they just don't know what we found. What do you say?
Well, I say that, he's everything. And, I received the Lord, accepted the Lord as my Savior as a young teen when I was at youth camp, and accepted the call of God on my life shortly thereafter, which, became a journey of finding out what that was. But, I'll say this, Bill, the older I get and the more experienced, I get in life, I find the more I need him, the more I need Jesus in everything I do. So I think, my faith, I love one of my favorite passages. I mean, I have a lot of favorite scriptures. It's when Jesus was asking the disciples, who do men say that I am? I think that's probably a great question for the world. Like, who's Jesus? Some people don't even know, but then he really cared about who they thought he was. Yeah. You who spend time with me, who do you think I am? And Simon Peter said a lot of goofy stuff and stuck his foot in his mouth often, but he got it right that day when he said, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." And so fast forward when Jesus was looking at him in the Last Supper in the upper room, and he said, "Hey, somebody's going to deny me." And they had that little debate going on, and he looked at Peter in Luke, and he said, "Satan desires to have you, to sift you as wheat, but I prayed your faith fail not." I think he was talking about the confession that Peter made earlier on that said, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." I pray that faith's not going to fail.
That's right.
And when you're converted, you just start strengthening everybody around you. So that's what it means to me. It just means that, he touched me a long time ago. Yeah. And I just want to try to live my life telling people about it.
That's right. And you're not alone. You know him, you hear his voice and get his guidance. I imagine whenever you need, and you being a business guy, you've got 100 decisions you got to make all the time, and most of them affect other people. But the good is with God in your life, you can pray for wisdom. And if you're like me, I may make a decision for myself in 1 second, but if David asked me to pray for him, I'm going to think about it. I'm not going to give you a flippant answer because your direction is going to be determined on my decision maybe. So I think the benefit of having the Lord is you get wisdom, oftentimes I'll have somebody say, "Well, Bill, let me ask you a question," and I will pray quickly, "Lord, give me wisdom." And then while I'm answering the question, they go, "That is so good. Oh, I wish I'd have asked you earlier." And I think, I didn't know it earlier. I'm thinking to myself, that is good. Where'd that come from? So the benefit of having God in your life is that, David. What I love about you, David, is this. I met a guy years ago, an insurance man that owned an insurance company down in South Florida. And he was retiring, and he made a statement to me, and I was young then, but I never forgot it. He said, "Bill, my insurance is my occupation. Jesus is my preoccupation." And I thought that is pretty right. He's basically saying, on top of the world, but my preoccupation is not my company. My preoccupation is Jesus. And I thought that was good. That reminds me of people like you when I see you. So, buddy, we've got to get together sometime. Next time I'm in Tampa, too, I do want to come down and stop and see you.
Hey, I'd love to.
And we got to hang out.
Yes, sir. I 100% agree. Look forward to it.
Well, I appreciate your heart, David. Thank you for being my guest today. I didn't want to do this podcast this year in 2021 without having you, because I just want to connect with you, buddy. So
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and it was an honor.
If you enjoyed that episode and you would like to hear more content from Bill, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you have not already. It's completely free. It just keeps you up to date and in the loop whenever we release more episodes of the BP Leadership Podcast. Also, don't forget that you can come see Bill live at one of our monthly BP Leadership breakfasts. You can find out details and times on our website, bpleadership.com. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, this is where real leaders are made.